but we are humble enough to say there are people that know as much, if not more, about the Kings than we do.
Straight up.
And one of those gentlemen is Sean Cunningham, a friend of the program. And Sean is on the Folsom Lake Honda hotline. Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop. Kings guru from Fox 40. Mr. Cunningham is with us. Sean, as always, we appreciate your time, my man. Let's talk about Kevin Huerter. He said earlier today that he intends to return tonight. How big would that be for this final stretch?
Wow. I mean, first of all, thank you for the great intro. It's you get good at something after doing it a long time. So I don't know if it's because I've been doing it a long time or it's because I'm any damn good, but appreciate the support for sure. I think it'd be huge. I mean, look, I felt like Kevin Huerter, we all saw how that streaky shooting had come to light where, he had really struggled, goes into the All-Star break, gets a little fire, comes out and certainly has the struggles again. But I think this team is at their best when Malik Monk is rolling, Kevin Huerter is draining threes and playing some pretty above average defense, especially in the transition. And to give a team that is kind of scuffled here, although no cause to push the panic button, I think would certainly give them a reason to come out against a Phoenix Suns team that is also kind of scuffled here a little bit and losing 2 straight. And you're looking to even the season series with them. And I think tonight's game's a big one. And if Huerter can give you that boost, so be it. But these remaining games are going to be a kind of a fun wind down to the regular season. And I just can't believe we're going to be talking about a solid postseason appearance coming up.
Fox 40 Sean Cunningham rocking with the fellas Cattles and Ramie. Sean, you talked about tonight being a big game, and we just got through talking about the next 10 games and what would be a viable record in the next 10 games. What do you see? 5-5, 6-4, 7-3? What would you be happy with?
Yeah, shoot, if you can go 5-5, no matter what the season has looked like, I think it's fine. I think even if you're going 4-6, it's not going to do anything to derail my belief in this team that they've been a solid force in the Western Conference, somebody that has taken a lot of people, including myself, by surprise. But the one thing that they can hang their hat on is that really potent, fast, efficient offense. And if anyone is thinking that this team, you look at the NCAA tournament, right? Like everyone says, oh, you're peaking at the right time. And for you guys, I think Jay knows this, Nick, I don't know, so brace yourself. But I'm a Duke fan, and
God, forget everything I said when I introduced you to the show. That's it.
And to that point, it's like for the past few years, I've talked about how trash that program was going to be, and they always end up playing somewhat well towards the tournament. And I said it doesn't matter. And this team, this goes into the team and was like, oh, they're peaking at the right time. And I don't buy it. But for this team, I really felt the Kings team this Kings team has shown since January, even late December, that, I feel like this is a team that would be a tough out in the playoffs. And even if you stumble into the playoffs to close out the regular season, certainly there's a hungry Warriors team that lies ahead. You're going to have a Minnesota team, and you've got Utah for a second time here this week. And Phoenix is even trying to get right as well. So, I don't look at the 2 Portland matchups as anything. I kind of feel like they're out of it. But even those teams that are out of it, Kings fans know this. Sometimes they try to upset the apple cart a little bit, and the Kings have done that in recent years. So some of those teams that might be bowing out, like the Spurs and the Blazers and possibly the Pelicans, wherever they end up being, could be some of those teams that might get you a hardy test that you weren't really expecting. So I'm looking forward to what lies ahead. I certainly don't think, you need to finish with a 500 record or better to be to go into the playoffs with a worthy mindset that you're going to be a competitive team, because I talk to players and coaches all the time, and they say, people who think that the playoffs are going to slow down, that's a bunch of BS. They feel that they can play even faster.
Sean Cunningham here is with us. He, of course, is on the Folsom Lake Honda hotline. Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop. Sean, we always talk about the defense. Let's put the defense aside. What would be your biggest concern heading into the playoffs about this team?
It's a great question because we have a lot of guys who might have individual playoff experience on other teams. Clearly, this team doesn't have it. They've shown to be a worthy regular season opponent. What's it look like in a playoff series? And I think that's been the question mark, which is you don't know who's going to be that X factor that pops up in a playoff series. Every series, when we go through the playoffs, you end up talking about a guy you didn't think you'd be talking about. I always say famously, when the Kings seasons are done, I have to jump over to Warriors coverage and cover their run, which usually means a finals appearance. And you're always talking about those guys. Last year, I think it was Otto Porter and Andrew Wiggins for sure, who had been so huge for their playoffs run and even into the finals. But I just wonder who that player might be with the Kings. Oftentimes in recent, in the early 2000s, and I think the league has, changed a little since then, but you make careers out of the likes of Eduardo Nájera on early Kings runs with the Mavericks, and then you see the Matt Harperings of the world, who was such a dirty player for the Utah Jazz in those early playoff runs. Who's that player that the Kings are going to have? Do they have a hockey goon on this team? I think they might. I don't know if I've recognized it entirely who it might be consistently. Do they need that person? I don't know. And it's funny because, we talk so much about playoff success and what that can look like and how much experience shines through. And sure, that's true. But I mean, look, in recent years, we've seen somebody like last year, like the Mavericks, they go to the Western Conference Finals. Granted, they've got a superstar in Luka Doncic, but no one's really thinking that they'd go to the Western Conference Finals. The Hawks, just a few years ago, when they go to the Eastern Conference Finals, they do it with a little bit of freedom. No one had the expectations. So I wonder, I'm not saying that the Kings are going to go to the Western Conference Finals, but I feel like there's a freedom of them coming into a playoff series, not knowing what they don't know, and playing with a little bit of playing a little looser than maybe normal. Because look, I think all the pressure is going to be on those teams that are later in the standings, and they keep changing by the day. But if you're going up against the Warriors, who are sixth right now in the West, and it's a Kings and Warriors playoff series, which, by the way, has never happened, well, all the pressure is on Golden State at that point.
Sean, you've been around for quite a bit of while, and I don't mean that in a bad way. That means you've been doing your job for doing it great for a long time. Just speak to this, because I asked this to the G-Man a couple of days ago about being who he would be scared of, and within that answer, he kind of spoke about what it just even mean to be in the playoffs. So you are a known figure here in Sacramento. Speak to just relearning to be back in the playoffs for Sacramento Kings fan, so someone like yourself, and for someone who covers the team.
Yeah, I think it's a different answer for everybody, really. I think fans, I think the city, you've seen it. They've, it's funny for someone like Nick. I mean, Nick, you've been here a year, maybe 2 years now at this point. I said this the other day on, I think it was on our podcast, where I bought my car that I drive now. It had 4 miles on it, and it was September of 2006.
Wow.
Yeah, man, it's a hybrid. It's an 07 Escape hybrid, and it's an 06. When I bought it in September of 06, I still have it. It's got 226,000 miles on it. So yes, I need a new car. But I looked at it, I'm like, is this the curse? Like, this is how people look at things. And it's like, you see the way the city is excited about the prospects of being back in the playoffs. They should be. I mean, it's understandable, but this has been missing. I feel like, they're rewinding all the way back to when that playoff series, Mitch Richmond, Brian Grant, Michael the Animal Smith, you look at that late 90s team that played the Sonics, and they get in as like an 8 seed, and they're going up against the number 1 seed, and the Kings are down, I think, 0-2 in that series. They played game 2 really, really tough, and before the Kings take the floor, I mean, the place is just going berserk. I feel like you could have a similar atmosphere inside Golden One. I think people won't be able to feel their faces. Some people have been waiting for this moment for so long. From a media standpoint, I mean, you can see it. You're in the building, you're looking around, and you're seeing media that
never seen before. Right.
Yeah. Literally, they're walking in, they go, wow, this arena's great. It's like, yeah, man, this arena's been around for a little while now. So just the logistics of what that could look like. And you've seen what Jurassic Park outside of Toronto looks. You've seen what those watch parties look. And they were talking about for the finals outside of Milwaukee and what they look like. I feel like the Doco Plaza could be filled with people watching these watch parties for a first-round playoff series. And even if this team was in a postseason play-in tournament, which we all know is not the playoffs, they could probably fill that up to watch that too. So it's fun, man. You go walk around town and you see signs. You see King signs again. You see everyone buying into this Beam stuff. I was walking around K Street and Doco earlier today, and you see the Beam stuff represented everywhere, and just this galvanizing force of community spirit and civic pride that is the Sacramento Kings and Golden One Center. It's exactly what we've all wanted to see in this city for such a long time, and it's exactly the image that the owner of Vivek Ranadive had when he built the arena, that this would be this central gathering spot. And now he's got a basketball team that's relevant enough to bring the people out and do it.
Sean, great stuff. Let's do it again soon, man. We appreciate you.
Oh, anytime, guys. Thank you so much.
All right, there goes Sean Cunningham from Fox. All guests coming from the Folsom Lake Honda Hotline. Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop. He pulling at my old PC strings there.
Yeah,
Michael Smith. Yeah, Michael Smith, man. I remember